Hi there. We saw that a lot of our friends on Facebook are starting seeds, which is something that we do every year. May's done it every year of her life so far, and I have done it many, many years in a row. And we also saw a lot of our friends are learning new things and trying new things, and so we thought, why not do a little segment we'd like to call Gardening for Babies. So the first thing to consider is what things grow well and what things you might eat. So babies like to eat lots of different things. May right now is really into formula. That's really the thing that she jams on, although she's tried a few other things. Some of them have been from our very own garden. They just weren't grown this year, like sweet potatoes. Am I right? Yeah, I'm right. Some things that are really easy to grow, like potatoes or tomatoes, things like that, can also be really good for kids to eat. Squash, for instance. You can start squash plants inside as well as direct sow them into the ground. I find the best plants to start inside are things like tomatoes and peppers, kale, maybe, things like that. Things like carrots or beets don't usually transfer very well, and I've started cucumber plants inside thinking that I would have early cucumbers, and the things that I sowed directly into the ground as soon as it was time to do that, they didn't really come early. So those are just a few things to consider. Whoa, okay, hang on. Gilbert, the goat is going to help you out. There. Why don't you put your arm over him, since he's such a nice goat. Goats are very helpful in the garden, just so you know. Unless they're not helpful in the garden, they're helpful for a garden. You good? Now, what kinds of equipment do you need to start seeds inside? Well, obviously first you need your seeds. Then you need some dirt of some kind, and you need something to put the dirt in. So I like to plant things in egg cartons and in eggshells because both of those things are compostable and they add nutrients to the soil. Once they get big, or the plants get about this big, I transfer them to a bigger pot, but I start them here. After that, you need a light. So I just used an old fluorescent light that I found because it gives off some heat, and as much as it's not super great for the environment, because it stays on for a certain amount of time, it doesn't turn off and on a lot, it's actually not too terrible. And then I used this old Rubbermaid container, and I cut the lid so that it would fit over the light, and the light doesn't get so hot that it burns it. I also put aluminum foil on the inside of the lid to just kind of retain some of that heat and some of that light. And I chose a clear container in part because I had one, and in part so that the seedlings could get more light. As I mentioned, our hothouse is just an old plastic container, and I wanted to show you how I cut the top so that it will fit over the fluorescent light, which is a light that I had. Again, I'm trying to use the materials that you might have around the house because you might not want to do a lot of shopping right now. Mine has a strap on it, and that's mostly to keep cats out of here. So these are our tomatoes that have come up. I labeled them so that I knew what they were. May and I are down here in our scary, scary Michigan farmhouse basement to actually plant the seeds. So we've chosen some marigold seeds. Marigolds are really great for kids to grow because they're pretty easy, and they tend to deter rabbits and woodchucks from being in your garden. They're really pretty. The seeds are really easy to save, although we bought these. And they're also apparently very fun to play with, probably to eat in a minute. Anyway, so we need the seeds, we need the egg carton. I used up our egg shells on the last take, so we don't have those anymore. But as I mentioned, you can plant seedlings in just about anything. Betty Middleton gave me kale seedlings in an old strawberry container. So we put some medium or some dirt in here. You can use organic medium that you buy at the store, planting medium, which is great, or you can actually just use dirt from an old house plant. Thank you to the lovely Cass that gave me this beautiful plant that was very meaningful and it died. You can use leftover potting soil as well. You just put some in here, put the seeds in there, and we're done. One of the lovely things about gardening, babies like too, although I'm not going to give this baby dirt to eat, is that you don't have to be neat. So we're just going to do that. A little bit more dirt on top. here. 1, 2. A little bit more dirt on top. Most packages will tell you how deep to plant things. Most seedlings you're going to start inside don't want to be super deep. That's for you. Thanks, dear. May wants to give you one last tip. Can you say it? She says she doesn't like soggy bottoms, but your seedlings do. Make sure you water them thoroughly at least once a day.